What is going on, guys? Hey, I wanted to come back to you this evening and bring you a little bit of JLP. And in this episode, man, he's talking to a Native American lesbian. But hey, guys, if you would, please like and subscribe. Thanks.
How is native feminist theory different from feminism?
Because we talk about settler colonialism.
What does that mean?
We talk about the colonization of the United States, right? And how it's a settler colony, how, settlers came here to stay, right? And to take over, not just to be here.
Right.
So white feminism doesn't have that feature. And we actually all talk, native feminism talks about hope and about trying to find a different way to be in the world. I feel like it's a very different kind of philosophy. We're actually not just interested in victimhood, because if we were, right, that would be, we would never get anywhere with that.
But who came up with this?
Right.
Who decided, let me call it native feminist theory? Who came up with it? And don't you have to be high to come up with stuff like that, like hallucinating?
No, I think it's brilliant, and I'm very proud to be a part of that field.
Did you make up that theory?
No, I did. I'm just part of it.
Who made it up?
I mean,
go get your money back. I don't know how you sit around and you come up with ideas like that. You have to be hallucinating with the peyote or on some pot.
No, that's actually not true.
But you don't know who created this idea?
Well, I'm not sure who I want to give credit to for that. Because, that's the thing. There's actually a long history of native feminisms, right? Do you talk about the native women who were, because that's the thing, native nations, men and women have different roles, and there's also two-spirited people, queer people in the nation. So everybody just has different roles. It's not like one is better than the other, right? Because you need somebody home, farming, taking care of the children, right? Preparing the food, doing their little gardens and stuff. And, men can go out and do warfare and go get beasts and stuff So, I feel like these things are complementary. It wasn't about one is better than the other. It was just.
I want to ask you this really fast. You said that homosexuality is normal to you.
Yes.
And LGBTQ and all that is normal.
Yes.
And so if a man put on a dress and lipstick and say that he is a woman, is he really a woman, or he just think he is, but in reality he is not?
If he believes he's a woman, if she believes she's a woman, she's a woman. So.
But in reality, it's not. You just believe that.
It depends on, I believe that they get to be what they want to be.
But would you see a man, a woman in a pantsuit and saying that she's a man, but you see, with your eyes, you see as a woman, would you pretend that it is a man?
I would ask how they wanted to have their gender identified.
And you pretend that it's whatever they say?
I would respectfully believe that I'm going to respect their beliefs to identify as they wish.
But in your mind, you know it's not real.
It's real. It's real to me if it's real for them. So.
In your mind.
Do you think I'm passing as a woman right now?
Are you?
Am I a woman?
You just made me nervous, are you?
I don't know.
So if I'm robbing your house, but I'm telling you, it's not real to you, because that's not real to me, are you going to believe me? Are you going to believe me as I'm walking out the door with your TV, and I look at you and say, you know what? I'm not robbing your house. That is not real to me. So it can't be real to you, because I identify as a non-robber. And so I am a non-robber. So I'm not robbing your house.
Oh.
You don't know what you is?
Well, I'm just saying.
What you is. That's black. You don't know what you are? You don't know what you is? You don't know what you are?
No, I identify as a woman.
And why?
Because, that's how I want to identify.
Did God make you that way?
I don't think God made me that way. I think that
Were you born a woman or a female?
I was born a woman.
Oh, okay. Is there a difference between Native American women and white women?
I think Native women are better looking.
Better looking than white women? Ooh.
No, I always say that to my students. I'm like, if you learn one thing about Native people, it's that we're very good looking.
Are Native women better looking than black women?
I don't know.
Why you don't know that?
Well, because I'm like, I'm not gonna the race, different other race stuff.
You scared to say that about the black?
Well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not messing with black people, so I'm with them.
Black Lives Matter burning down your house if you say.
Well,
I was going to say the same thing, man. So you're going to have Black Lives Matter burn down your house because you said that Indian women or Native American women are more beautiful than black women. But you have no problem saying that about white women because white women are in a lower class according to this intersectional victimhood than black women. Gotcha.
I mean, it really does depend, obviously.
What does it mean to decolonize the native body?
Well, that's a very detailed question, right? Because one of the things, of boarding schools and of colonization period was to try to make it seem that our bodies are like nasty and not good, right? That they're unclean, they're filthy, right? So I think one of the things we need to do is to start thinking about like how our bodies are good, how we are good people, like how all of us is actually beautiful, instead of like trying to go to like white beauty standards or like not accepting ourselves as we are.
And so are white people making you feel inferior like that?
I'm not blaming that on, I mean, it's like, it's part of our culture. Our culture is very white dominated, right? It has very specific white standards of beauty.
So the white, quote unquote, dominated culture are making you and Indians feel less about their culture, less beauty, or they are making you feel that way.
Well, I'm just saying when you have all the shows.
Okay, look, white people, whether we like it or not, are almost 60% of the population in the United States. I'm just saying there's going to be more white. Right now, there's not, but on the whole, there's going to be more white commercials, more white dominated things. I understand that you want equality and equity and it's like, yeah, we need to have equality. We need to have all people, regardless of race and gender, they're allowed to try to become something, go to become something. But the fact of the matter is, equity is stupid. Like right now, you're saying that we live in a white dominated society as far as beauty standards. Well, I don't mean this the wrong way, but again, white people make up the majority of the population. So you're going to have it slightly going that way. I mean, it's going to be, and I think right now, with the way things are going right now, we have it going the other way. Like, you have no problem sitting right there on the show and saying that Indian women, Native women are more beautiful than white women, but you have a problem saying that Indian women are more beautiful than black women. Why? It's all because of the victimhood thing. You don't want to be seen as a racist. That's what it is. You don't want to be seen as looking down upon black people, but you have no problem doing it with white people.
Like all the books, almost everything about Native people is very distorted or negative or doesn't actually have anything to do with us, has to do with actually with white people, then it's hard to feel good about your own self and your own body.
You were not raised with both parents, your father and mother, right?
Right.
So do you believe that if you have been raised with both parents and you were close to your father, that you would be insecure like that?
Well, I mean, you'll be happy to know that I had a white stepfather.
I'm talking about your real father, though.
Well, I mean, I have no idea.
But just when you think about it, when you smoke on it, do you believe that? Do you believe that if you were close to your father, he was there, your mother and father were together?
Jesse, man, you are trolling this lady. See, a bunch of good smoke on it. She might.
Loved your father, that white people, anyone can make you feel inferior.
No, I don't think that has anything to do with it.
You think you would still feel inferior?
I don't feel inferior.
But the Indians that white people make them feel that way, if they were raised as with two parents, decent examples, would they still be made to feel inferior?
Well, I think we should talk about why they don't get to be two-parent households, right?
Because they're not getting married.
Well, also because, like, you know, Native men, like black men, are incarcerated at very high rates. They're, like, serving our nation overseas.
They're committing crimes.
So, well, I mean, we're more likely to get caught, too.
Right, and go to jail because they don't have money to get good lawyers.
Exactly.
So that ain't the white man's fault.
Well, I think it is, actually.
So the white man's to blame for everything.
Well, the thing is, no, I mean, because what I'm trying to say, too, is like working class white people are also not able to get like good lawyers, right?
Right.
But the racial profiling might not go, you know, they might not get pulled over for being, you know, driving while white, right?
But that's not true. That's made up. What the blacks are doing.
Well, that's what you and I completely disagree about that.
No,
So.
I'm black.
I know you're black.
I'm as black as the ace of spades.
Well, how many times have you been pulled over?
In my entire life?
I'm just
twice.
Saying,
I remember twice.
Yeah. I mean, and you don't think racial profiling had anything to do with those situations?
Not one iota.
So.
Yeah, I've been pulled over. Man, I think about, oh my God, I don't even want to count. I mean, it's been very few the last 20 years, but yeah, when I was a kid, oh my God, I was getting pulled over like once every few weeks for a while, I think it was. But yeah, I had to go to because I was speeding so much as a teenager, I had to go to a kind of a driving school for teenagers because I was speeding all the time. And I got like so many tickets within 6 months or something. But man, so was I being pulled over because I'm black? Because I'm not. It's like I'm a white kid. I'm a white kid. I was a white kid, and I was getting pulled over left and right. And they didn't seem to have any problem pulling me over. And I don't think I've ever been pulled over by a black cop. Like, not once. It's all been white cops. And I don't think I've ever not been given a ticket. The only time, well, I take that back. The only time I was not given a ticket was for a seatbelt violation. That was it. Every other time that I got pulled over, I was given a ticket. And again, it's not because I'm black, because I'm not.
Because I was raised different than the other blacks. I wasn't raised to hate the whites, blame other people. I wasn't born out of wedlock. You know, I had my stepfather, my mother got married before I was born, so I wouldn't be born out of wedlock. But black people, when I was growing up, black people got married. They believed in God. They loved all people. They treated everybody the same. So I wasn't blamed. I wasn't raised in a victim mentality. And so when I was stopped by the cops, I followed the instructions. They did what they needed to do. They said, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And they went their way. But the blacks today are acting out. They're cursing out the cops. They're running. They're criminals. They're running. What do you think going to happen?
Well,
how is that the cops' fault?
Well, I mean, it's very much. I mean, that's the thing, though. We're talking about structural inequalities that go back before the beginning of the United States. And you're not just going to, like, pretend that these things don't exist. You can. That's one of the ways you can go about this.
What did you say?
Structural inequalities.
What did that have to do with anything?
Well, if it's way harder for you to get housing, to get a job, to go to college, to have any ways to get ahead, that will make your life much harder to be like successful in the
So are
U.S.
you
version.
saying that it's harder for the Indians or the blacks to get a job?
For both of us.
But the blacks don't get the job because they don't want the job. They're lazy.
I mean that I disagree. I mean,
telling you.
well, they say the same thing about Indians.
Because
So.
Man, Jesse, I ain't saying nothing about that, man. But one thing I do got to say, look, everything needs to be equal across the board. You know, if tests need to be the same, like there needs to be a certain score, whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're Asian, whether you're Native American, whatever, to get into a certain school, a certain college. Same thing if you want to get into a certain program or something. You know, like some of these apprenticeship type programs. But, you know, and there's certain qualifications that are needed to get in certain jobs. But we don't need to have those qualifications less for people of color. They need to be the same across the board. So if you have to score, let's say, 1,000 for a job or a scholarship or whatever, or to get into a school, that 1,000 needs to be 1,000 score for everybody. It doesn't matter what your race is, what your gender is. That is equality. You don't need to lower the scores, lower the standards for anyone. Those are what the standards are. That's what we got to do. We don't need to shoot the fastest runner in the leg in order for the other ones to catch up. That's not making the slower runners faster. That's just making the fastest slower.
The Indians are that way too. You know why? Because the white people made a mistake by giving the Indians too much free stuff.
We did not get anything free. They
Yeah, y'all
stole
got free
everything.
land.
No, that land was ours.
Free gambling clubs and all kinds of stuff.
Well, you know, because we're sovereign nations, we get to decide what we want to do on our nations.
But that makes you lazy, though.
I disagree.
And one thing about white people, they love to work. You notice that?
That's not what I've seen. They love to steal.
What did they steal?
Our land, like our culture, like they try to assimilate us. They wouldn't accept that we are the way we are. Like, I mean, I could keep, you know, instilled heteropatriarchy. I mean, all these different things that were very violent systems.
What do y'all want now from the whites? What do you want them to give you?
I want them, we've been wanting them to leave us alone for a long time.
But they don't bother you guys. You guys chase them.
They do bother us.
How do they bother you now?
They come in and they'll like put like nuclear waste on our nations without like permission. I mean, there's still all these things happening. They like will try to put pipelines through our nations.
That's amazing.
Even though we disagree.
But that would provide jobs.
Well, at the cost of destroying the land,
But they're not doing anything with the land anyway.
Well, we don't want a pipeline going over the water source of the whole nation.
Well,
Does that
then
make
y'all
sense?
need to do
Especially when
something.
the White Town was like, don't put it through our country, right? Don't put it through our place. Put it on the Indians' land. And that's exactly what they ended up doing.
I need you to define something for me. Heteropatriarchy.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that. Nothing about that at all. So you guys can leave information in the comments below on that. But, you know, I do understand what she's saying about that. Like, I don't know if I'd want a pipeline over my water source, but again, I had no real information on that kind of stuff. And, you know, I heard of it, you know, a few years back, but I have no real solid information on that. So.
What is that?
It's exactly what you think it might be. It's like patriarchy, but then like making sure we're talking about heterosexuality.
Straight
too.
men.
So, like just like straightness, period.
What's wrong with that?
Well, I think it's a very dominant source that everybody has to try to live up to.
Thank you. You're supposed to live up to it. That's why it's hetero.
Well, I think it's oppressive to everybody.
Heterosexual men are supposed to bring women and children out of the hell that they're in. That's why it's hetero patriarchy.
Well, they're failing, so you better get it together.
Because you guys are acting so rebelling.
Well, then you all are not doing a very good job. So
I agree. Men are weak because the mama destroyed them when they were kids.
Well, I feel like we have to work together. I don't know why that would be such a bad thing.
But you don't want to work together. You want to blame everything on the man, on the white man, on the white straight man. You don't want to work together. You want everything your way. And then you want to complain and yell and scream. So no, that's not what you want. You're saying, it's not such a bad thing to work together. Yeah, it's not, but that's not what you want.
Heteropatriarchy, so you're in favor of that?
No.
You're against that?
I critique it, yes. Well, I don't think I'm not completely, people can go and do that, but the fact it creates all this inequality that's the part I think is messed up.
You love heterosexual?
Do I love heterosexual? I think people can go be heterosexual. That's great.
What do you mean go be it? Do you love it though?
Do I love it? No.
Would you prefer a straight man or a gay man?
I don't prefer men. So
Oh, you like women?
I like different types of people. So
You mess around with women though?
yes.
You a lesbian?
Yes, I identify as queer woman.
You a lesbian?
Yeah, you didn't. How did you not get this from your research? I do queer indigenous theory. That's my other
but
thing.
I didn't know you were a lesbian.
Well, I identify as being queer.
But you don't look like a lesbian.
Well, what are
She a lesbian, Jesse. She a lesbian. Man, again, he keeps saying that over and over again. You're a lesbian. You're a lesbian. You don't look like a lesbian. Jesse.
No wonder you don't want to have a baby.
Because I have more options.
You are a lesbian?
Yes. You could. Identify as queer, but
A queer lesbian.
well, lesbian has its
I'm
own.
stunned that you're a lesbian.
So I don't live in the suburbs, or
But why you look so feminine if you're a lesbian?
because that's the way I choose to, to be in the world.
To be feminine.
To
like
be
a
feminine.
lady.
To be, yeah.
And so do you like hard lesbians?
It depends on the person. Yeah.
You like lesbians that act like men?
It really depends on who it is. So,
Wow.
I also just really love beautiful women of all kinds of types. So,
Well, not that much love.
so. Well, I guess I do.
You have just blown me away. I was blown away once before. I was interviewing a white male Catholic kind of a guy, and he had his collar on, and I never thought of him as a homosexual.
Right.
And then he said to me he was a homosexual. I'm like, you're a homosexual? And then when he was sitting, it made me take my, focus my eyes, and I saw that he was homosexual.
Because we said it different.
Yeah.
Man, he was blown away with the fact that she was a lesbian. Man, he kept saying that over and over again. And again, I do gotta agree, man. She does not come across as a run-of-the-mill lesbian, or at least what I think of as a lesbian. And again, man, I am no expert on this stuff at all, but I will agree that she does not come across as a lesbian. But again, man, it's so funny that he is taken back by this, just can't believe that she could be a lesbian. But hey, guys, if you would, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks. You son of a.